Her name was Samantha Zucker, and she was recently arrested and put in New York City jail for 36 hours because she couldn't produce any identification for the police. Well, me being a smart aleck that I am, I would have said, why don't you just take my fingerprints and identify me that way? But I guess she didn't think about that. But, you can't even walk down the street. If you forget your wallet or something and you're walking down the street and the cops want to harass you, it's definitely going to happen. And you're going to most likely pay a consequence. I know that the Lord a lot of times intervene for us and get us out of things like that. But we shouldn't have to. It shouldn't be that way. Another reason, number 5 in the list, is under Adolf Hitler, there were increases in government spending. And I know that here in the States, it seems like we don't pay a lot of taxes compared to the rest of the world. Like over in Europe, they have to pay all these extra taxes to fund their healthcare system. Well, that might not be too far around the corner for us folks. But when you look at it and you take all the taxes that we're paying and you put them together, we are paying close to 50% taxes when you figure out sales tax and property tax and all the other taxes that are levied upon us. That's the case, Number 6, Hitler's taxes were raised during that time dramatically in order to pay for all the social programs. Again, we go back to Europe and we see that happening. There's a woman that lived through World War II, and she says that in Hitler's regime, she said our tax rate went up to 80% of our income. That's a lot. That means only $20 out of every $10, out of every $100 that you make would go to food and everything else. And like I said, they haven't gotten that bad in this country, but when you add them all up, they come up to 50 or more percent of your income, and which means your income really isn't income if you're paying taxes on it. Which you could, if a person was savvy enough, could use it with the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, because it's you're not really making income. Our money is just coming in and going right out for other things. For most of us, anyway. There are some people that are doing pretty good financially, but for most of us, our money just comes in and gets funneled in different directions. The economy in Nazi Germany was very highly socialized. Well, we're starting to see this stuff like that too here now. Well, the government prints the money, so the government can either value the money or devalue the money. And that happens all the time. We've seen that just happen recently in China, where the government valued the money in order to punish the rest of the world, but it's turning out that it's punishing China more than anything else. And when countries usually get strapped for money or finances, wars usually happen afterwards. So it wouldn't really surprise me if a big war happened over in the next year or two because of what's going on in China. And also we could see with Obama-Saya, when he took over the government, when he took over the United States, basically, that he nationalized a lot of things. He went in and bailed out the auto companies, 2 of them anyway, 2 out of 3, and whenever you accept money from the government, they own you. That's why it kind of concerns me that so many people are on general assistance when they don't need to be, because if you're taking money from the government, you might think you're free, you might think you're getting a free ride, but yeah, just wait till they want something, and they have every right to get it because you basically sold your soul to the government. Now I'm just talking with people that are abusing the system, not people that can't work and everything like that because of medical reasons or psychological reasons or any other reason that's bona fide. I'm just talking about the people that take advantage of it, and sometimes generations upon generations of their family do the same thing. Well, if you want to hear the song, you got to pay the piper. Nothing in this world is free, and sooner or later you're going to pay for it. We have social medicine now, or it appears that we have it. It's not really social. Basically, it's just been a manipulation of all the insurance companies and a reorganization of all of them so that the government can prosper under them. The government has basically become the whore mother over all the insurance companies. That's basically what's happened. And so a lot of private ownership is being taken away. A good example is we were driving down the streets of Eugene the other day, and noticed that they had made an extra lane for something called the EMX, which is a bus system that basically the voters said that they didn't want, but the city government of Eugene went ahead and did anyway against voter approval. Um, but in order to do that, they had to take some more property from the business owners and the houses that lived on the side. And the government doesn't go in and say, you know what, we're going to do you a favor and pay you so many dollars for the square feet that we're taking. No, they just go ahead and take it. It's called eminent domain. And under this administration and the last, eminent domain has really been corrupted and bastardized to where the government can come in and just take anything they want to at any time. You think you're free and that you own your property? Well, I got news for you. If they decide that they want to use it for something, they're going to take it. And, you're going to be living out on the street. So, again, in Nazi Germany, if you conducted business outside the socialist paradigm, then you were heavily punished. A good example of that would be that you have to buy and trade using United States currency. If the IRS finds out that you're bartering with other people, ooh, are you in trouble? They're going to go through all your records, or they're going to somehow figure out what you bartered with your neighbor, and they're going to tax you for everything that you thought you were getting away with. So they will not let you get out of the system. They will let you get the appearance of getting out of the system, but when push comes to shove, they're going to come get you. So there's another thing that Nazi Germany shares with us nowadays. In Nazi Germany, the government control over business was terrible. You couldn't have a business unless you got permission through the government. And, hey, what's the difference here? Got to get a business license under the guise that it's for the protection of the public. You want to build something on your property? Get a license. You want to drive? Get a license, because those are privileges, not rights, according to the government. Again, Kitty Worthman, who was alive during that time in that nation, or that country, she said, my brother-in-law owned a restaurant that had square tables. Government officials told him he had to replace them with round tables because people might bump themselves on the corners. Then they said that he had to have additional bathroom facilities. It was just a small dairy business with a snack bar. He couldn't meet all the demands, soon he went out of business. No, isn't that kind of like baking cakes for gay couples? If you don't do it, the government will shut you down. Interesting. If the government, she said, if the government owned the large business and not many small ones existed, it could be in control. She said we had consumer protection. We were told how to shop and what to buy. Free enterprise was essentially abolished. We had a planning agency specifically designed for farmers. Yeah, we have that here. The agents would go to the farms, count the livestock, and then tell the farmers what to produce and how to produce it. Sound familiar, folks? You ever hear of farm subsidies? Farmers learn to live on farm subsidies, and they don't become independent anymore. They learn to live off the government. And then the government says, okay, you're going to do it this way, or else we're going to yank your money, and then we're going to take your farm away from you. You don't think it's possible? Get a hold of a farmer that's lost his farm, and he'll tell you some stories that you'll never believe because they're so incredible. Okay, and of course we know that all these ridiculous regulations that the U.S. government is burdening with the businesses today, and every day, and age control freaks love to stick it to business people that are trying to make a living, and then add to that corporate fascism, like Jim was talking about. Big stores like Walmart putting little stores out of business. There are some towns that are so small that Walmart's barely making it there, but they put them there to drive the other people out of business. So Walmart is not the nice people that you think they are. They're quite insidious, actually. And you could do a small, just type it on Google, Walmart horror stories, or what Walmart does to business, and you'll get to see what that's all about. Okay, number 10. Under Hitler, free market capitalism was absolutely abolished or hated. A guy named Gregor Strasser once stated that, because he lived during that time too, he said, "We National Socialists are enemies, deadly enemies of the present capitalist system with its exploitation of an economically weak, and we are resolved under all circumstances to destroy the system." So fascism does that, folks. It destroys people for its own gain. And well, again, read the newspapers, and I'm not talking about the liberal newspapers because you'll never see it there, but go to alternative news sources and check it out. And it won't take you very much reading to realize that what's being said here is correct. Number 11, in Nazi Germany, the healthcare system was taken over by the government. Well, I don't need to say much about that, do I? But the difference is that in Europe, it seems to work. Although kind of haphazard, it seems to work, and it's very expensive, and people have to pay a lot of taxes for it. It works. What's been done in the United States is a travesty. It's a mess. It's like little children trying to build corporate America, and we're paying the price for it now. Nowhere in the world do you find people that will get fined for not buying the health care that the government's offered. Only here in the United States. It's like, most of the countries took what was best from other countries and tried to make it work. It's the Obama administration has taken the worst from every country and tried to make it work. And to me, I believe it was deliberate. Again, Kitty Worthman says, before Hitler, we had very good medical care. Many American doctors trained at the University of Vienna. After Hitler, healthcare was socialized, free for everyone. Doctors were salaried by the government. The problem was, since it was free, the people were going to the doctor for everything. When the good doctor arrived at his office at 8 a.m., 40 people were already waiting to see him, and they were all there at the same time, and the hospitals were filled as well. If you needed elective surgery, you had to wait a year or two for your turn. There was no money for research, and it was poured into socialized medicine. Research at the medical schools literally stopped, so the best doctors left Austria and immigrated to other countries. Kind of like a lot of the scientists did, right? But, there's only so much money in a society, and when you take it away from one thing and put it to another, it draws from other things. 2 plus 2 equals 4 is a constant in the universe, and if you try to make it anything else, then you're a fool. Okay, under Adolf Hitler, abortion was made safe and legal in Germany. I bet you didn't know that. Hitler was a huge fan of the founder of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger. Oh my goodness, if you read what that woman said, basically her guise for making up Planned Parenthood was to exterminate certain peoples off the face of the earth. And she once said the most merciful thing that a family does to one of its infant members is to kill it. Yeah, it was too bad that her parents didn't think about that, or Hitler's for that matter. Hitler echoed this, and he wrote in Mein Kampf, the demand that defective people be prevented from propagating equally defective offspring represents the most humane act of mankind. So, if your parents had bad eyes and you were going to have bad eyes, better to get rid of you, because then you're going to need glasses and doctor's appointments to get your eyes straightened out, and that money could be better used for healthy people, according to their way of looking at things. After the Nazis came to power in 1933, abortion was quickly legalized. By 1935, there were approximately 500,000 abortions being performed in Germany every single year. Add that to a population of, there was only like 4 million people, 40 million people in Germany at the time, if I remember correctly. It's a substantial amount of people for the population count. He encouraged Aryan women to have as many children as possible, but he also viewed abortion as a way to reduce undesirable populations. We know that the same thing's happening in America today and around the world, too. Abortion clinics are often located in the poor part of town, and a staggering 72% of Planned Parenthood customers have incomes that are equal to or beneath 150% of the federal poverty level. Interesting, huh?